Hi there, my name is Anderson Tiago, the owner of the New Wave Traditional Heavy Metal Full Albums channel on YouTube and a DJ at Gimme Radio. I'll be your host on this new podcast. Welcome to A Wave of Metal. This first episode is brought to you by Heavytron Sound Studio. Heavytron is run by Artur Migoto from Artorium Records. An experienced heavy metal musician and producer, Artur knows how heavy metal should sound. Heavytron Sound Studio offers services such as remote mixing, mastering, remastering for licensed reissues, and audio restoration. Specialized in contextual mix and vintage old school sound, and soon with a recording facility and pro audio gear manufacturing. Check the website heavytron.com. It's Heavytron, heavytron.com. Before we begin, let me tell you what A Wave of Metal is about. My channel on YouTube is focused on new bands that play traditional heavy metal, heavily influenced by what many legendary bands did in the 80s. We call that the new wave of traditional heavy metal. But even the subgenre tag was imported from the 80s, as all of you almost certainly know the new wave of British heavy metal. So the word wave has been intimately connected to the music I like. Add to this mix US and European 80s and early 90s power metal, Bay Area thrash, Sunset Strip hair metal, and a pinch of American and Swedish death metal, and you will realize that metal comes in waves. This is why the podcast is called A Wave of Metal, and not because I'm a surfer. And our first guest is the guitar player, singer, and mastermind of a new sensation within the new wave of traditional heavy metal. With an EP in 2017 and a full length the following year, they have established themselves as one of the household names of this movement. They were crowned Album of the Year by Gimme Radio and were ranked 11th in the Rolling Stone Best Metal Albums of 2018, besides being an almost unanimous presence in Best of the Year lists in the metal press worldwide. Today we are talking with Trevor William Church from Haunt.
Hello there, everybody. How's it going?
Hey Trevor, how is it for you to be part of one of the hottest bands in metal at the moment?
Um, sorry, I'm smoking a joint. Um, it's really awesome. The whole experience that I've had this past year has been incredible because I didn't have like a band until April. So to like form a band out of what was just a fun little recording project in 2017 turning into a band that ends up getting all this publicity is quite nice, to be honest with you. I didn't expect that, you know? So it's really cool. I really dig it.
So Haunt began as a solo project, but has since evolved to a full band with Daniel Wilson, Taylor Holman, and your mate from Beastmaker, John Tucker.
Yep.
You already talked a little bit, but how did this transition took place? It was something you had in mind, or it was out of need due to the success of Luminous Eyes?
It was out of need because I just didn't really anticipate what was to unfold. Like Shadow Kingdom, who put out Luminous Eyes, was like, hey, Christian does this, our homie Christian from Venomous Maximus. He does this festival in Texas called Hell's Heroes, and he was like, he really wants you guys to like play it. Can you put it together? He's like, I can get you guys on and all that. And I was like, let me finish this record because I was working on Burst into Flame. I didn't have a band at that time either, except for John and Daniel. They were coming in and doing some recordings and stuff, but I was writing all the music by myself and putting the demos together by myself. Um, so it was one of those things where it was like, okay, I finished the album and now it's time for me to put together this next piece. I had no bass player. So therefore, you don't really have a band when you're not playing live. It was like a recording project, you know what I mean? It wasn't we were in a room, we wrote a bunch of songs together and a band was formed. It was more the opposite. It was like we were just recording pieces of music, not even, it was kind of like, come in, come over, play this part that I have written, or I'm gonna play it, one or the other. It just kind of went both ways. I did some of the drumming, I did some of the like a lot of the guitar on the debut record. So it was just a matter of time where a band was going to be needed, so I could take this on the road. Everybody kept telling me, you know, I had all these people behind me going, "Hey, dude, this is going to be huge. You don't even know." And I'm just like, I was just kind of like, "Are you?" I don't know. I was like, "We'll see what happens." You know, I liked it a lot. I really love what Haunt does, but I did not like really anticipate it to just be so widespread in the short period of time that we've been around, because we haven't really been all, you know, like it hasn't even been a full year of playing live yet. So a lot of it is really surreal to see like the growth of the band in such a short period of time of playing live. I still think we've only played like maybe 25 shows ever. Wait, no, we did like, never mind. We did 27 on this last tour. So we're looking at about like 40 shows maybe live ever. Sorry, I forgot about that tour for some reason. It must be early here, so, and I'm lit, but we've only you know, done a handful of shows, so it's really crazy. It's very all new to me still, and to us. And there's like the growth cycle for the band is like just kind of figuring out what actually works live versus recording. So that's been really interesting, because we get a good perspective of what's missing live for us, and but maybe it wasn't missing in the recording. But you know what I mean? There's new elements being born. That's all about. I don't know what else to emphasize in that perspective.
So you created Haunt because you wanted to do something different to what you were doing with Beastmaker, your other band.
Yeah.
But since 2017, you released an EP, and full length. Now you have another EP released, because when we put this interview on air, it should be probably out, the Mosaic Vision. And
Yeah.
you also have another full length coming. We are going to talk about all these albums later. And you also released a few EPs with Peacemaker. We're talking about them
Yeah.
later also. How did you
Yeah.
get so many ideas to songs?
So it all kind of just started by doing like a DIY studio, and like writing a lot of music, and just like honing in on certain things, and like just keep creating, keep writing, keep working at like getting better songs. And that was kind of the format that I used to elevate my songwriting abilities. Was every day. I would actually, to be honest with you, I'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, because back then I was working at a career college as an instructor, and I had to be there at 7:30 every day, and 7:30 a.m. So I didn't get off work until about 5 o'clock. So by that time, I mean, I was pretty tired out. So I would actually get up early, like 5 o'clock, go in there, and I'd write a song, or like start writing riffs. So that way, when I got home, I had something. There was a lot of work going into everything. And as I started to get like Beastmaker rolling, which was like the first recordings we ever had done DIY, we had no clue what we were doing. Still don't. I'm still learning. I was out there, I'm learning stuff right now, to be honest with you. Got some new programs that I'm trying to figure out with mixing and mastering to get better quality. But it just started by just writing, like the exercise of constantly trying to evolve and get better, and always trying to come up with a riff. I was always trying to come up with a guitar riff, which leads to the drum, to which leads to the bass, which leads to vocals. That's generally the order I kind of do. Guitar, drum, bass, vocals are last. And that's it just became, you know, you start to learn formulas of writing your songs, and all of them really actually did become formulaic. And some critics would say that's a bad thing, but when you're trying to get better and evolve, there's no better way of practicing the same things. I mean, if you look at, like, say, skateboarding, how many times is fucking, Jamie Thomas done a 50-50 down a rail? You know what I mean? He's you have to, like, get good at that one thing first before you start moving on. And I think with Beastmaker, it was my first band where I really wrote lyrics. Before that, I only had been, like, in a few where I actually was, like, trying to write lyrics. And so Beastmaker was good because we were going to do this horror vibe, like we're going to do like a 70s horror vibe to the lyrical content, which gave me like a topic. And I just started running with that topic and started understanding how to get words in the right places and how to make them sound right and things like that. And I took all that stuff that I learned from Beastmaker and I put it into Haunt, which maybe is why the EP was, like, so well received, is because I was already, like, that was the beginning state of, like, me improving my sound and my songwriting abilities. So, I mean, Luminous Eyes was the first one. And I mean, a lot of people would probably say, that's a hell of a first song for a band. You know what I mean? So a lot of times you gotta work with, you're collaborating and you're going to be working on all kinds of different songs and a bunch of different riffs and a bunch of different jams, where I just came to the table with art, like Luminous Eyes, right out the gate. It was really natural for me to write that song. It probably took me, all in all, to write the entire song about an hour. And I already had, like, a demo. I had already started sending it to people. I sent it to my friend Paul Abrin from Bronca Studio, who in return immediately responded going, "This is amazing. You must put this out. You need to write more songs." And I was like, yeah, I got to leave for tour. And I was going to do a European tour with Beastmaker, my other band. And I said, I'll work on this more when I get back. And, like, literally after that conversation, 30 minutes later, we have the Haunt logo and Luminous Eyes cover. And he's like, hurry up and write the record. Here's your shit. Like, this is what you're doing. So I had a really good, right out the gate, the energy for the music was there. My friend and colleague that I work with heavily, with my artwork at that time, he was real energized and brought that to the table, which, I'm eternally grateful. I love our logo. It's one of my, every time I see it, I go, I love that logo. Like, he did such a fucking good job. Like, I can't thank him enough for that. But anyway, on to the next phase. As soon as I had that artwork, I literally, like, probably 5 minutes later, wrote As Fire Burns, like, in its entirety, like, on the spot. And then the last two songs that we put on it, No Master and Fallen Star, those were kind of like afterthoughts. Like, I was getting ready to put this stuff online, and it was going to be 3 songs. And then Shadow Kingdom kept telling me, like, hey, you should do a 4th, and we put it out on a 12-inch and it'll be awesome, and this and that. And literally the day that we turned it in, I think I kind of put Fallen Star together. So it's like real demo, like, it literally is a demo. So when people, like, say, like, there's been some like reviews that I read where it's like people have said it's like a Lost Angel Witch demo. Well, it's a Haunt demo. So, like, there wasn't really any mixing or mastering really involved. So it's very raw recordings. Like, I probably put some vocal effects on it and did the whole thing in about like not even a day. I didn't really know what was going to happen. So I didn't really want to invest a lot of time in it. And I just wanted it kind of to be really, at that time, I was really into, like, lo-fi and doing things extremely lo-fi. I'm not so much in that realm anymore. So, I don't know. And plus, it was like my first recording that I had done without Andy, who plays in Beastmaker. He does a lot of producing with me and engineering. We worked, like, we've literally been learning this stuff together with each other for the last 5 years, and we always are bouncing ideas and knowledge, you know, to each other. Um, so that's really, you know, when you know, I bought a house last year too, which is a huge part to play with why so much got done. I have a studio in the backyard. I have like this back house that we turned into the recording studio area. And so that really makes it easy to record a lot of songs because it's just at my fingertips every day. So hopefully that answered the question. It's kind of long, but that's kind of why and how like things are done here.
Yeah, we can see the studio when you do the live streaming from Instagram when you show
Yeah.
the new songs and what you are doing, and it's quite nice. You were talking about techniques of recording techniques like dry voice, wet voice, and I didn't know these were things that would actually happen in a recording, and it was nice just to see this kind of things.
Oh, you should see, dude. The stuff that I'm learning right now is like insane. Like I just got this new program that it's called tonal balance, and it actually is an interactive software. It speaks like the audio, like they speak to each other. Like it's crazy. And like I've been messing with it for a bit now because having your own DIY studio comes learning curves that you constantly must be, you know, up against. We have like there's a lot of great albums out there, and we want to be able to make those albums here in Fresno. So we're able to record a lot faster. The format that I'm going to be using for the future of Haunt is different than what everybody is doing. I'm going to be like, if Icarus Could Fly is going to be the last traditional like Haunt release, meaning we are waiting for the manufacturing. We're going to be doing the opposite now. We're going to be releasing stuff immediately. So like when the masters are done for the audio, we will put it on the internet like automatically, and then everything else will follow because CDs and tapes you have in a month at your doorstep. Like vinyl, you have to wait like 4 months, and then there's all this PR stuff. And since it's kind of like, you know, I like it like a do-it-yourself kind of ethic here at what we're doing. I'm not really concerned about like the marketing and stuff. I hope it just kind of happens on its own. We will put stuff in, and so there's going to be like a lot of singles, a lot of like maybe 7 inches and stuff at the and like I feel like what we're gonna do, we haven't done it yet, so this is all just like an idea that hasn't really come to fruition yet, but we're working on making that come to fruition. So after Icarus comes out, we're gonna start releasing singles and songs really quickly. It's gonna be almost like a blitzkrieg of like every 2 months you're gonna get a new Haunt, something new from Haunt every couple months, maybe even every month. I really don't know. It really depends on how songs are coming out, but we want to give them like fresh, like hot off the press kind of thing. Like we just, you know, finish the song. Here you go. At the end of the year, we'll do a collective of the works, and that will be the full length for everybody could have their physical stuff, which you would have waited that long for anyways, but we'll just always kind of be a step ahead of that though. By the time that physical is coming out, you're still getting like fresh music. I just want to be a little bit different, and I like having a recording studio, and I like writing a lot of songs. And the downside to having a lot of songs is how you're going to release those songs. So I had to come up with a way to release all of this music, good or bad. I don't really care right now. Like I'm like when I write a song, I'm just gonna put it out. I'm not gonna go, well, this one kind of sucks or whatever. I don't really like it. I'm just gonna still put it out there. We have the ability to do this. So I feel like having the investment of what we've had to put into the studio and the time spent learning it, and you know, it also, each song is like an evolution. It's like a piece of homework because we're diving in really deep into like learning the mixing, like learning what like top engineers are doing. So, and there's no better homework than doing it on your own shit. You know what I mean? There's no pressure because like if I was recording somebody else, I'd be like, oh, their stuff needs to sound amazing. Like, how, and then, you gotta meet their needs. So I'm just trying to meet my own personal needs at the time, you know what I mean? So it's pretty fun, man. I love having a studio, and I'm really lucky now. Like Haunt has been, the success that we've seen so far has given me the ability to actually be in the studio more. I don't have to work as much anymore. I only have to go to my day job for like 10, 15 hours a week, and then the rest of the time I get to spend here now. You know what I mean? That's pretty deep. That's some deep shit. I just went off on a tangent.
It's a nice idea that you release as soon as you get the things done, but it will be a nightmare for the physical collectors.
Yeah. The physical collectors, they'll have the same. It actually doesn't really change. You're still getting a full length record at the end of the year with the collection of the work. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
only thing you're going to have to so this is more for the digital streaming world. The 2 month thing, it's going digital first. So the physical stuff, you're going to have, we could do. I was thinking about doing like a Haunt the Nation, like fan club exclusive thing that we would do some like limited edition 7 inches or cassettes that go along with the digital. Um, I'm not really worried about doing there's going to be a full length record, so it's still exactly the same type of situation for your current collector. Burst into Flame came out, people bought the album. It's going to be the same with what we're doing right now. It'll just be at the end of the year, the collection of work from 1 year to 1 year. So say I started in August of that next year, we would compile what we're going to do as a full length, and that'll be your full length record.
Let's talk about the record you have just released. It's an EP titled Mosaic Vision, which,
Yeah.
according to Hunt's Facebook page, will contain B-sides that weren't finished from the Luminous Eyes EP. So can you take us through the new Mosaic Vision?
So part of the homework process that we're just talking about of having a DIY studio was going back, and I got a new computer set up and where it was time to move everything over. And in order to do that, and pick what you want to bring over, you have to go back and listen. So I had the Luminous Eyes folder, and me and Daniel had jammed actually like 4 or 5 different songs, and I had really rough recordings of them. I'm talking just like a microphone in a room and us playing, and then some really bad like gibberish vocals over it, not even words, just made up melodies. And I just had never wrote lyrics, or some of them that just didn't come natural at the time. And I think I was just trying to get something out as well, to see if I, having 2 bands, one of your bands is going to suffer. You know what I mean? You can't have 2 girlfriends, can't have 2 wives. It's madness. So I wanted to see, I needed to have a test of like, hey, is Haunt going to be the band, or is Beastmaker the band? So Luminous Eyes, that's the test. And the test proved that like Haunt now is the priority. We don't really do Beastmaker anymore. Live, we could do anything in the studio. Live, we do not do Beastmaker anymore. Anyway, the songs were incomplete, so it was a good time to like record the instrumental in the studio with we at this time a lot of upgrades happened, some new mics, a lot of new software, and we rearranged the studio, did some better soundproofing stuff and sound absorption to try to get better sound quality, which is a fucking pain in the ass and will drive you insane, to be honest with you. It's been many nights of not even sleeping, being out there going, what the fuck? Like, how do I get this better? It's such a rabbit hole. Anyway, so like we had done Icarus already. Icarus was already recorded. So Icarus was the last album I did on my old computer system. And with that, I was like, I learned a lot from that one, and I wanted to move forward and had this new computer, started transferring everything over, ran across those songs, told the guys like, hey, I like a couple of these. I'm going to try to sing on them and make a song. And if they do, I'm going to do an EP. And I was like, I'll send everything over. So anyway, basically it was Taylor and we did all the guitars, got most of the drums done. And it just started coming together, and there was a couple parts we were going to do like a full reissue of Luminous Eyes, and then I asked the internet what they thought, and somebody said put one on an EP and then make Luminous Eyes the original versus like the new stuff recorded in the studio. And that was, again, like kind of more educational, and like as we started like mixing it and mastering, we were really like, well, we never really mixed and mastered like Luminous Eyes correctly. Maybe we should, and that's how that kind of came about. And Mosaic Vision is like kind of what we're trying to do sound wise is what we're trying to do now, like all the time. It's like it's set up in the studio, it's ready to record. The tonal balance software I have for creating complete tonal balance has been it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me in my music career, because it really takes a lot of the questioning out of the mixing and mastering part of the process, which is something when you're self-taught is a huge, like, okay, what do we do here? What do you do now? And the only way to do is trial by fire. And, sometimes you nail it, sometimes you do not. And that's where we're trying to grow, and Mosaic Vision is part of that growth. It was a part of the past that moved its way into the present, and it's a special piece of work. That's all I could really say. I really like how Show of Flames is coming on. I put online, I just gave everybody a sample, but that's actually like not mixed and mastered. That's just like a real rough version, but I wanted people to be curious of what's going on over here. So we're getting ready to launch like the whole thing. It's supposed to come out tomorrow, and I'm actually questioning if I can get it done before I leave, because I haven't really had enough time to really absorb the mixing and mastering. It's like it may have come too quickly, but it will be done when I get home. So if it doesn't come out tomorrow, it'll come out in the first week of February, just because I might need a little bit more time to listen and things. We've been working on it nonstop, so it's like it's hard because we're learning new things right now. So it's a lot of fun. We put a lot of John's solos in this thing are some of my favorite Haunt solos right now. And one of the things that we've learned about Haunt, we were talking about like, it was a solo project to a band, is I never knew the elements that John brought to the table until we recorded Burst in a Flame. At first I was doing most of the solos, and I was like, well, hey, solo on this. And then it was like, whoa, his solo sounds awesome on this. And then we get to the newest record, If Icarus Could Fly, and it seemed like we did twice as much solos as we did on the first album. We did like, each of us did 2 solos, and now getting on to like doing this EP, we're not doing that now. Like I'm letting him just take the whole solo, and like just kind of me stepping back and being rhythm guitar player, vocalist that plays lead sometimes, which is something like I didn't know was going to happen. And that's kind of like that playing live thing. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, I'm doing too much. I can't be lead guitar player, lead vocalist, and play rhythm guitar all the time. I need, somebody that is like my, I feel like John and I are like soulmates musically. He comes into the equation now and just writes these beautiful solos that I'm just in awe with. And that's like really something that I'm looking forward to in the future, is seeing John's growth in the songs. His soloing, his lead guitar abilities are way above mine, and I like that. It pushes me.
We have now the Mosaic Vision, the EP, with 4 songs from the Luminous Eyes era, and we have the Luminous Eyes EP. But what about the Luminous Eyes 2 project that you talked about September last year? Is that still a thing?
So with that, like I said, I had asked the internet what they thought, if I should just do a Luminous Eyes full length or split it up into EP. Because of time, the EP, the Mosaic Vision EP just kind of started coming to it just started coming to fruition. It was like, it was an idea, it got recorded, it started getting mixed, vocals happened, lyrics happened, it got put together. Luminous Eyes was like a little bit different because we tried some things out that weren't as successful. Like, we tried to give Luminous Eyes like a tempo that we do live, which is a little faster generally. And so we wanted to see what that sounded like. So we actually played Luminous Eyes, the song, about 10 beats per minute faster, and I didn't really like how it came out. So that song's gonna have to be completely re-recorded. So that's why that kind of got shelved. The other songs came out really good, as Fire Burns and No Master. And I redid the vocals of Fallen Star to like a degree that I would do now, stuff that I've learned now with backing vocals, and like maybe even being able to sing in a higher range, because at that time I was still like trying to find my voice. It was, like your vocals grow, your guitar playing grows, everything kind of evolves as you move forward. And I think for Fallen Star, like, that song is going to see a massive elevation. I really like what I did on that one. It will come out, and like I said, since we don't have to wait for any manufacturing anymore, it'll be out next year for sure at some point. I can't say when, because I don't know, because I want to start working on my new songs. I have like 10 new songs written, and yeah, I have a lot. I'm like preparing myself, because I have a kid on the way too in July. So I want to spend some quality time with my son. So I want to be able to have my workload kind of just like put aside, so I can, be there. So it's exciting for me. And I just have been like, hey, work hard right now, because, you got somebody coming to this planet, and you want to make them proud. So I've been, really putting that in my mind as my family, and giving the songs the love of, like, of having a family that I want to be proud of what I do, and be, it's crazy to think that, like, the band is like growing like this, and there's going to be these albums here forever on this planet. And that's kind of like, everybody wants to make their mark in the world. And for me, like, leaving the music behind, and the love that I have for music behind for, my family is really important now, more now than ever, because there's like a bunch of young churches now. My cousin Jordan has 2 sons. My cousin Justy has a son. I'm about to have a son. So, and then my brother-in-law and his wife, they have 2 kids too. So it's like, it's pretty rad, because, like, it's like, hey, follow your dreams. It's like a perfect example of like just doing what you love, and just keep doing it no matter what, until something works out. It doesn't even need to work out. If it didn't, I'd still be writing songs every day, just like I was 5 years ago.
I would mention the child that you are expecting in my question about Beastmaker, about the 10 EPs, because I'm a father of 2 also.
I know, man. That's awesome.
And I know that once you have the child, you won't have that many time to record songs. So
that's what I'm saying. But you know what? I'm really good at burning the midnight oil, man. Like, if I sit down behind, like, a lot of my songs are just kind of like written sitting on the couch. I just kind of just play all the time. And I grew up in a studio. My dad's a musician, so um, I don't really see it as like a challenge. Like the music's in my like the songwriting's in my blood. If I want to write a song, I'm gonna write a song. And like you know, I know that there's time. I have a bunch of dogs. I got responsibilities. I have my own house. So I mean, it's like it's always constant work. So I'm not afraid of working hard and that's part of what I do. I don't drink, so there's no like party lifestyle for me. So there's not like people go, "When do you ever sleep?" or whatever. I'm like, I sleep every night perfectly because I'm not getting fucking wasted. So I, if I go to bed at 2 o'clock and I'm up at 8, it's not like, oh my God, I feel like shit. I'm like, I just wake up and I'm like, all right, I need a cup of coffee. And then my day starts. So I'm already like trained. I'm already programmed myself to be a hard worker. So I think we'll actually probably see an increase of songs, to be honest with you, because I'll be more inspired to, you know, show my son, music that I write, just like my dad did. My dad did the same thing. And it's just part of my family. And that's the way it'll go. My wife is incredibly supportive of my music career. So it's really important to have somebody like that that's not saying like, well, now what are you going to do? You can't be gone all the time. I'm like, she knows I have to be gone because I have to go play shows. And it's just a sacrifice everybody's willing to take for me. And that makes me want to work harder, if you know what I'm saying. If you could understand that, like other people's sacrifices for my dream is what pushes me to try to do better and try to write, more songs and put more love into everything.
And now you're going to listen to one Hunt song that was chosen by Trevor. Trevor, what's the first song that you were going to play for us?
We will do Frozen in Time.
And why did you choose Frozen in Time?
Lyrically, it just like there's something about Frozen right now that's like something a topic I talk about a lot is like we kind of like relive past mistakes or relive, tragedies, or we are always trying to like find this nostalgic moment. And it kind of like sometimes it could be like a haunting thing. And that's why I felt like really went with haunt is like sometimes the past is a sad past. Sometimes it's a really happy one. And Frozen in Time kind of speaks about that. And it has a lot of meaning. So that's why I picked that song.
Great. So let's listen to Frozen in Time.
Does it mean my visions are alive?
A little pause on the interview to say thank you to my two patrons, Guilherme and The Walking Dead Pen. Thank you so much for donating for the podcast and for the New Wave Tradition Heavy Metal Full Albums channel on YouTube. It's because of you that I can continue do this work. Thank you so much. If you want to donate as well, just go to my Patreon account. Is patreon.com/NWOTHM Full FULL. You have a new album, If Icarus Could Fly, coming up in May 17th, once again via Shadow Kingdom Records. What can we expect from it comparing to Burst Into Flame?
Well, it was kind of, again, it kind of comes back to the, like, almost thinking of it as like a homework assignment for the band. We put out Burst, and there was a lot of, like I was saying earlier, trial by fire, where it's like sleepless nights of just being like, oh my God, like, when are we going to get this done? Why, like, there's a lot of madness that went into that. And when we finally reached the finish line, we had learned a lot of critical things, I think, that we were ready to apply to new music. And during Burst into Flame, strangely, as we were recording it, I wrote almost all of the riffs for If Icarus Could Fly immediately. I had them, like, pretty much when we turned in Burst into Flame. I had already had all the demos for If Icarus Could Fly done. And I sent Tim a message. I said, hey, this stuff, I got like a ton of new songs, and either, it's like, I want to release it very soon. Like, I don't want to sit on this for like a year and a half. And I started sending it over to him, and he was like, this is really good. I love this. And we'll do whatever you want to do. And I was like, all right. So I started working on it, and the production side of it was one of those things we're trying to figure out how to use software and mix and master albums, because at this point in time, we're literally talking, I'd only done it for one album, Burst into Flame, which is like, not only is it my debut record, full-length album for Haunt, but it's also the first full-length record I ever did without Andy being here. He did a little bit of stuff with me, but it wasn't a lot. I was like on my own for a lot of it, which was a challenge within its own right, not having like your right hand next to you. So If Icarus Could Fly, I took all the stuff that I learned, and from mistakes, of course. We only learn from our mistakes. We don't learn from what we do right? You know what I mean? So I took the mistakes that I had learned and applied it to my new songs to try to get like a gnarlier sound. I don't know. I wanted the guitars, for some reason, the first record, I just really wanted the guitars to stand out. And I think, like, when I did that, I took away from everything else. I took away from a lot of like what the drums were doing, and it's like all guitar. And then I did that a little bit slightly less for If Icarus Could Fly. Now I'm like I have a whole another way of doing things because of the mistakes on that one. And I think mistakes are what make things like good in some ways. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is like, you can't work on the same painting for 20 years. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not going to get better. It is what it is. Try to do your best. And that's kind of the philosophy and that I go by, is just like, do your best on it. Like, this isn't the last song you're going to write. So it's either going to be good or it's not. And I just, we did a little bit of different guitar tone on this one. So there's some changes there. Definitely we brought up the drums quite a bit. Hopefully it worked. I felt like it's better. And that's really that, as far as the production, that's like kind of what went down there. I tried to produce it better. And Taylor was here with me, and instead of Andy, he was kind of my right hand on that one, where we were like, does this sound good? Oh yeah, yeah, no, no. That's where that went. Was Taylor was involved, who's our bass player now. We had two bass players. Our original one I had to fire, and then Taylor is the shit. He's the best bass player that I know in Fresno. You know what I mean? There's not this town's hard to find people, and to find somebody as awesome as Taylor has been just awesome, like incredible. So it's the first album where he came in and I didn't play bass either. So that's another thing on Icarus is I'm not the bass player. Whereas Burst, I played bass on Burst in a Flame. Even though there's a picture of a dude named Matthew Wilhoit on it, but we only did that because like Tim wanted like a band photo, even though I was like, I don't know for a band yet. You know what I mean? I was like, I put that together before we had even played a show. So I was like, I don't know, but I just kept that in there. There's going to be an alternate pressing. The next Burst in the Flame will have no pictures of us in it. I'm going to have them removed because that dude's not in the band, didn't play on the album. And he started a bunch of nonsense drama with me because he got fired for being drunk and on drugs. So like he's out. So anyway, so Icarus just really fucking is just a lot of heart and soul, and John's playing in it is like where it's like it finally it showcases somebody else other than me. It showcases John, and that's really important for If Icarus Could Fly.
I am one of the lucky persons that listened to If Icarus Could Fly, that already
Yeah,
listened to the whole thing.
yeah,
And like I said to you, my favorite song is Winds of Destiny, that's not released yet.
yeah.
I was listening to the album and then I thought, man, this remind me a bit of Cauldron, but with better songwriting compared to their latest releases. But
Mm-hmm.
I don't trust my musical judgment sometimes because I don't have any theoretical uh, knowledge of music. Then
Yeah.
I went to Google and then I searched Hunt, Bust into Flame, Cauldron, and then I saw a lot of reviews making the same comparison with you and Cauldron. What do you think about this?
Well, I mean, it's kind of there's definitely like some similarities there. Probably vocally more than anything. Um, I don't know. I like Cauldron a lot, so I don't really think that's like a bad thing to be compared to. There's a lot worse things that you can be compared to than Cauldron, if you're asking me. Um, they were early on. Like I only really started listening to them when they did In Ruins. I was kind of naive to their existence because not a lot comes through Fresno, and like at the time I hadn't really dove down their rabbit hole of bands at that time. And I really like In Ruins a lot. I think that's a really great album that I enjoy listening to. So I don't mind the comparison. As far as you say is like better, like my like stronger songwriting. I don't know. Uh, I think both bands have a different take on things, but in a similar way. It might be like it might be the tempo because we're not like fast bands. You know what I mean? Maybe it's because we're more in the mid tempo range that we get that comparison. Because I mean, to me, it's like okay, well, we play this mid tempo, and the songs aren't super thrash pace or speed metal. So I think that's what makes Haunt and Cauldron, I guess, like kind of nice is it's a little bit different.
I just want to be clear that I like Cauldron. I played their album Tomorrow's Lost a lot, but I think they found their sound, but got too comfortable with the sound without trying new things.
Well, you got this. This is the only thing I could say about that. I'm gonna just put a little perspective into that. Is like Cauldron might not be work like writing as many songs as I am. You know what I mean? So maybe that's kind of like, they've had these long periods of time between records, like 2 years, 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look back on their history, there's like a lot, like there big gaps between records, to where if it was me, as everybody has seen with Beastmaker, I put out like 7 Beastmaker albums in like 4 years. So I mean that's a lot of albums. So I mean that kind of maybe gives me the upper hand in the songwriting thing, is because I do it so much, and maybe they don't have the time, or they don't have their own recording studio to kind of just do that in. I don't know. But I get what you're saying. A lot of people have strange things to say about New Gods. Like, it's like, I like a lot of it. I like the guitar tones. Like, I think it's a good record. I just really haven't dove into it as much as maybe In Ruins. I've listened to In Ruins a lot. I think I painted my bathroom, my entire bathroom. I like ripped the wallpaper off and like, base coated the sheetrock, textured it, painted it. It took me like a week. And I think I listened to In Ruin like over and over and over again, like when I did that, because it was like really good music to paint to. It sounds retarded, but like really, like it got me in a groove of getting it done, like getting the job done. So that album's definitely cool.
Yeah, you should have told me this a few months ago when I was supposed to paint the house. But now we are selling it, so I don't need to worry about this anymore.
Yeah, it's the and next time you're painting something, I throw that one on. It'll get you through. It was that one. It was that one. It was that one and Thin Lizzy Renegade. I think I listened to both those just on repeat, on my phone, on my little I got like a Bluetooth stereo that I stuck in the bathroom, and it got me through that chat. I painting a bathroom and taking wallpaper off sucks. So I mean, to get through and actually complete it is like a miracle. Thank you. Thank you, Thin Lizzy. Thank you, Thin Lizzy, and thank you to Cauldron for getting the inspiration to get that bathroom done.
Now it's time for the second music that you're going to listen by Hunt, and it's your choice.
We're gonna do Looking Glass. Again, because we're looking at self-reflection when I was writing the lyrics for Burst into Flame. Self-reflection was a big deal, and that song, it really talks about that.
Great, let's go. Looking Glass.
Dream
You have your own label now, Church Recordings, but you also have an ongoing great relationship with Shadow
Yeah.
Kingdom Records. You are even wearing the t-shirt.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to work with them? And how important was their work for the success that Haunt has achieved?
Again, like it was kind of like one of those things with the pieces of the puzzle were just really coming together. And when I started talking to Tim, the owner of Shadow Kingdom, I was explaining to him I was already in the mindset of doing all these DIY recordings and having my own thing going on. And Andy, the drummer of Beastmaker, who does producing with me, he's producing Haunt with me again now. So it was kind of one of those things where we always talked about hot off the press. We wanted like popped out of the toaster oven. Here's your song. There's always been some weird fascination with he and I about that way of putting out music. Like we record it, mix it, master it, boom, here you go, whatever. So I was telling Tim that was something I wanted to do. And a lot of labels probably would be like, no, you can't do that. That's not a good idea. But I already proved that the format works, the platform works with my other band, Beastmaker, who didn't play a show at all last year and had like financially the same kind of success as Haunt did. So I didn't even play. We played 2 shows. You know what I mean? So to me, I go, well, we got all these downloads and the iTunes stuff is doing really well. We sold like 300 vinyl records right out the bat just on Bandcamp alone. So, I mean, I look at that as success. Holy shit, we did that just by getting work done and putting work into it, you know? And bigger things, the challenging part about doing this is you need somebody to do the other work. And in that, Shadow Kingdom really stepped up to the plate for that. And he was more like, yeah, do your thing. Let's do this first. Cause we have the eyes, we were like, we need to do a debut. We need to do a sophomore album. And then we could kind of do whatever we want. You know what I mean? Just to kind of get the band started. And they did Shadow Kingdom does a really good job. I think the way that we send out records, like they already come in a plastic sleeve that protects your album cover and your record. Where usually, it's comes shrink wrapped and then you opened it and then it's that you have nothing to protect your cover art, which is one of the only reasons I really like vinyl records. I think that digital sounds better, but vinyl records are really awesome to have the big artwork. See, I remember you have a CD collection. And I'm more on that level where I like the CD quality. I think that's like my favorite quality. It's just always, it's so adjustable and all, especially in your vehicle. So that's where I listen to most of my music is in the car. You can't bring a record player in there. So I prefer that quality. Not saying that everybody has their own opinion of what's better, but it's really nice to see what manufacturing Tim is able to procure for our releases. We do these matte finishes that look really great with the art that we do. And he does a really good job on the social media art as well. It looks great how he has the t-shirts, the records, the CD, the tape on there, the logos. It's really cool. It's with Shadow Kingdom, it's a good partnership because he understands what I'm going for. And he just wants to be, we just like work well together. We talk and we come up with ideas, and he's really good at what he does for me and getting the name out there. Tim has done just as much as I have. I don't want to like put Shadow Kingdom, like I don't want to put them out. There's so much that was done on their side. We've had some offers for some other labels, but I'm really like not interested, and I just want to keep things with Church Recordings going and Shadow Kingdom because I feel like we could, It's like, again, it's like with the recording studio, it's like, I'm going to learn what they do, you know, Vig or Andrew Sheps or, you know, a great engineer producer. Like, what do they do? I want to learn how to do what they do. Am I going to get there? Maybe not, but I'm going to try really hard. As I look at like what Shadow Kingdom and my own label are doing is like, and mainly with my label, it's just like, it's like the church recordings is really the studio. It's the church recordings. It's like where the albums are made. Like Abbey, like Abbey Road was, you know, for the Beatles or whatever, and like church recordings is for what I do. Or I mean, I'm sorry, Apple Records for the Beatles. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to do something along those lines, is where I have my own thing going on. And Shadow Kingdom is the distributor manufacturer of the product, and it's hard to find a team like that. But I think with the Luminous Eyes release and the Burst in the Flame release, I think for both of us, it's a good fit. We have a good thing going. There's no reason to stop that momentum. Like, why put something between it, like severing ties? I don't really see that beneficial to me. So Shadow Kingdom and Church Records is like pretty much church recordings is like what we're going to see stuff from.
I totally agree with you about Shadow Kingdom Records. They are doing an excellent job with Hunt and a few other bands. You recently released 10 EPs in a period of roughly 1 to 2 months with Beastmaker on Bandcamp. That's not a common thing. 10 EPs all at once. How did this unusual idea come up? It was because the child coming?
No. So the reason it's kind of a long story. I'll try to make it quick. Beastmaker was having contractual issues with our label. I really wanted to already kind of dive into this format of doing other things. Like I wanted to like release EPs. I wanted to do 7 inches, and the label we were on weren't really into that idea at all. And so I started, like I said, I was writing songs all the time. Before I'd go to work, I had riffs, and all that I was doing there in that time compiled up. And by the time we were like looking to do the 3rd Beastmaker album, I had 50 songs to choose from. That's too many. You can't choose from 50. You're like, how do you do that? So we had like started putting some together. We recorded them. I wasn't really feeling it at all. And Haunt Burst into Flame had already come out or was done. And I was like, well, and I'd already started working on others, you know, like I said, I was working on the sophomore record, Icarus. And we were starting to transfer things. The computer was coming. Like I said, I got a new setup in my studio to handle the processing power of what the software we're using now. It just takes way more processing, because it's these huge program that speak, like I said, it talks to each other. They're interactive software. Anyway, so what were we talking about? I forgot. I lost myself.
It's about the 10 EPs, Beastmaker.
The 10 EPs. Okay. So they were already written songs, just re-recorded. That's it. I already had them. So it wasn't like I was writing them, boom, putting them out, writing them, boom, putting them out. They were already demos that were just re-recorded. That's why I was able to do it so quickly. And we also had at that time, I had just gotten through a year-long, like, off and on thing with the label we were on. And they finally, like, you know, he's like, well, let's just terminate the contract. So we finally had come to agreement to terminate it. So when that happened, I was like, well, this is a good opportunity to clear the plate of all this music, because this is a lot of stuff. You know, I was like, I'm not going to, you know, if I wouldn't have done it now, I would have never done it, because I would have just been writing new stuff and just those would have been forgotten. So I wanted to close the chapter, and that's how I did it. I just went out there every day and worked. I did it. Like I said, like I was able to like take a step back from my day job this past year in 2018. So I only had to go to work for 15 hours a week. So I was able to spend all that other time recording. Do you know what I'm saying? So I was using it like, hey, this is my job. I'm gonna go out here every day. That's the way I look at it. It's like, this is my job. Like, I'm gonna wake up and go write a song. Like, does fucking, I don't know if you guys have Taco Bell in Spain. I'm sure you do somewhere, maybe. But here in Taco Bell, like in America, Taco Bell, if they didn't make tacos for a day, like, how could they call themselves Taco Bell? So for me, it's like, how could I call myself a professional musician if I'm not out there trying to get it done every day? So that's what inspired me to do that. Is like, hey, like, this is a job. Get your shit together. You got to do good. You want to be good at what you do. I don't want to be mediocre, man. I want to do really good work, and I want to try to push myself.
And they were sold digitally on Bandcamp for $1 each.
Yep. You want me to emphasize on that?
No, because like you were talking about the financial side of Beastmaker, and you
Well,
said that
it's
you.
gone. Well, that was kind of like it's kind of like it was giving the bird to the record industry, because like I was getting less than $1 for each album sale, and it was really like bad. So I was like, make more money just doing this. So it's kind of like, fuck this. It's the same shit. It's not $1 anymore, because I put it up to 4, which is more reasonable for everything. But I had it up there for $1 for a really long time. And I also, it launched, that whole thing launched me doing physical, did my first vinyl release. But all the Beastmaker stuff's going to come out on Shadow Kingdom. We're going to release all of it through there. So that'll be the channel to get in the physical stuff. Same with Haunt, you know. I'm gonna do some like church recording specials. Like I said, like there's gonna be some like Die Hard, some exclusive stuff. Like I want to start like a Haunt the Nation fan club, to where, you know, those certain people get limited edition stuff. Like they'll get us, you know, like 7 inches or picture discs or something to commemorate that like moment in time. And you know, I'll do like cool art and stuff. Like we have like an art aesthetic that we kind of have, and like we'll continue like working that as well. I like it.
You talked about your plans for the future with Hunt and Beastmaker, but what's your thing on the horizon after the release of If Icarus Could Fly?
Well, I'm leaving for tour on Thursday, so we're doing a tour with Idle Hands and Hellfire around the West Coast, and then we're doing Hell's Heroes again this year in Houston. And then we're doing a Psycho Entertainment festival in LA called Psycho Smokeout, which is going to be awesome. I really am excited about this. And then in September, I haven't announced yet, but I can announce it here, because I'm going to announce it actually tomorrow. Is we're going to be going to Europe in September, and we're doing a 2-week tour in Europe. So, and then we have plans to come back to Europe again already in early 2020. We already have another tour plan for Europe. So we're doing a lot of stuff. There's a lot of stuff in the works right now for the future Haunt. And one of them is getting it to go, you know, overseas. This year, I'm kind of stuck to 2-week tours. So the tour that we're doing in Europe is only going to be 2 weeks. So that probably means we're only going to play like 13 shows or 12 shows. I'll try to play every day and play as many places as we can. But with the situation of having an infant, it's like going to be really hard for me to be away from home for that long at that moment. But I want to continue the musical journey, man. And part of that is like, again, I was saying the sacrifices earlier. A lot is, you know, people have to sacrifice for us, for Haunt to exist. And I just want to, you know, make people like enjoy music and have something that, you know, there's a spirit of music in this generation that needs to be, you know, that needs to stand the test of time. And I would love for Haunt to be one of those bands that stands the test of time. That would be a dream come true.
My follow-up question would be about an European tour, because I'm surprised that you didn't do it already. But now that I know September, please book a show in the Netherlands.
Yeah, I think we are playing in the Netherlands. I think that's where we're flying into, actually. So we'll be around there.
maybe Tilburg, because I'm seeing Idle Hands in Tilburg. I had to make a bit of a negotiation here at home because the Idle Hands show is on my wife's birthday.
Dang, that's not good. That's a tough negotiation there.
But they are opening for Jack Panzer, and it's my wife's birthday, so we negotiated a deal to make it work.
Well, have fun, man. Enjoy it.
And I hope to see you here in September because if it's really in Tilburg, it's a nice place.
I've played Roadburn. I've been to Tilburg. I've done the Roadburn Festival with Beastmaker. So I've been to Tilburg. It's awesome. I love that city. It's a great city. I'd love to come back there. Another place I've been to in the Netherlands is Deventer, I believe. Isn't that in the Netherlands?
Yeah. I never went there, but it's here.
That's a great city too. I love that place. There's an awesome venue there. So I really like the Netherlands, and I'm hoping to do as much as Europe, like I said, as possible in 2020. So if we don't see everybody this year, almost immediately we'll be back. We'll be back, I think, in March and April of 2020 for a full European tour. Because I'm probably honestly not going to be able to go back again that year. That's probably going to be it for me, because I don't want to miss my son growing up to, touring all the time. I don't mind being in the studio all the time, writing, but being gone is a whole other story.
Yeah, I understand, because I actually missed my oldest daughter. I missed her growing up from the 3 months to, I think it was 11 or 1 year. Because of the immigration policy, I had to go back to Brazil to apply for a visa and then come back. So I know how horrible it is to be away from your kids.
Yeah. That sucks. Sorry that happened, but it looks like you're back. You got it sorted. Yeah. So that's the most important part.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Trevor, for doing this interview. And we have one more song that you're going to choose. And after this, we are finished, and I would like to thank you.
Oh, no problem. Thank you, man. So we will play. So the song we'll just do Wanderlust, because we were just talking about traveling around and stuff. And that's like kind of what that song is about, is being away from everybody that, that really means a lot to you, your family, your mom, your dad, your wife, your significant other, even your animals, you know what I mean? Like we got a huge animal family here. We got 3 dogs and 2 cats. And take my dogs everywhere I go, but it's a huge hassle. So Wanderlust, because we all have this like longing to go and visit all these awesome places, but at the same time, while you're gone, and if you aren't with those people and you're alone, you're a lonesome traveler. You think about them a lot. So that's what that song's about. It's about thinking a lot and traveling about.
Thank you so much, and see you on tour. Let's listen to Wanderlust.